Wasbir, what to say? It's a ghastly attack. It's shocking. It's how to describe this ghastly attack. Wasbir, 28 innocent lives lost.
Yes, Amrita, extremely shocking afternoon yesterday. The tourist hotspot of Pahalgam, they were beaming with tourists. There were hundreds of tourists who had gone to Pahalgam, and Kashmir was in the news for heavy tourist footfall when this whole tragedy struck yesterday afternoon. There were hundreds of tourists in Pahalgam, some just enjoying the meadows in the Kashmir Valley, some taking a horse ride in that extremely picturesque and scenic area when five Pakistani terrorists, that's what reports say, at least five Pakistani terrorists, they asked for the identity of the tourists and shot them from point blank range. They spared the ladies, they killed the men and said, go and tell your government, go and tell your government. So it's a premeditated attack that took place in the Himalayan mountains in Kashmir. And reports are now saying that this group of terrorists had wrecked the area since the 1st of April, and they had entered India at least a week ago. That's what reports are saying right now, that they had wrecked the place from the 1st and then struck on that fateful day that was yesterday. Now, the world has condemned the senseless killings. The world has condemned the cold-blooded murder of 28 tourists, including 2 foreigners, yesterday afternoon, starting from U.S. President Trump to the Russian President Putin, to the Italian Prime Minister, to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, the British Prime Minister, and so on. Everyone is condemning this attack. In fact, President Trump has already had a telephonic conversation with Prime Minister Modi. And as we have been reporting since last night, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had arrived in Jeddah for a 2-day Saudi Arabia visit at the invitation of Crown Prince Salman. He cut short his visit. He skipped the official dinner last night and had already landed in New Delhi. Now, Amrita, immediately after his landing, he was met by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and Ajit Doval actually is in talks with the Prime Minister right now. And Prime Minister is likely to review the situation. He's also expected to preside over a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security that is going to determine India's response to this dastardly attack, to this cold-blooded killing of tourists in Srinagar. And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who was on a tour of the United States and Peru, has also cut short her visit and is returning to India. Now, the top brass of the Indian government will be meeting soon with the Prime Minister presiding, taking stock of the situation and coming up with a response to this heinous attack by the Pakistani terrorists, obviously backed by the Pakistani state. So what we see the sequence of events from now on is that Prime Minister will be briefed by the Intelligence Bureau, by the RNAW and other intelligence agencies. The National Security Advisor is already with the Prime Minister. The Cabinet Committee on Security is likely to meet, where the Indian response is going to emerge, and so on and so forth. Already, under the express instruction of Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah had air dashed to Srinagar last night. And immediately upon arriving in Srinagar, Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a security review meeting with the governor of Kashmir by his side, and the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah briefed the Union Home Minister about the situation. Now, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah is likely to visit Pahalgam shortly this morning and to take stock of the situation. Right now, the priorities of the local authorities in Kashmir is to look after the tourists who were injured. The hospitals are in brisk activity at this point in time, providing treatment to those injured, and the authorities are making arrangements for the post-mortem and sending off the mortal remains of those killed to their respective homes. And that is also the priority that the authorities are looking into at this point in time. There is a general demand from the family members of all those killed that the bodies of their mortal remains of their loved ones be sent home as soon as possible. Now, the positive thing that we have witnessed in this day of gloom is all the political parties in Jammu and Kashmir have united. They're in fact sitting together and in condemning this dastardly attack, this attack on tourists. And from taxi drivers in Pahalgam to political parties to ordinary people, everybody is coming out on the streets condemning the killing of these tourists. They said that it's an attack on the hospitality of Jammu and Kashmir. It's an attack on the heart of Jammu and Kashmir. People are saying that it's an attack on our livelihood, and people are saying that lakhs of Kashmiris were engaged in this tourism business, and this attack is a direct assault on them. So that is the response coming out from Kashmir political parties having already united. They're sitting in together in condemning this attack, and they're also showing to the world that they are united, they are together in this hour of crisis as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. And for the record, this is the worst attack on civilians in the last 20 years. And it's obviously a premeditated murder of innocent tourists who had been there touring and enjoying the scenic beauty of Kashmir. Amrita.
Absolutely, Wasbir. Also, at the same time, the timing of this entire ghastly attack, this cowardly attack, is also something to be taken into account. The Prime Minister was on a tour to Saudi Arabia. United States Vice President J.D. Vance, he is in India. Nirmala Sitharaman was in Peru. Also, Wasbir Hafiz Saeed sometime back was brought back to India. So the timing of this entire attack has also to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely, Amrita, you are bang on there actually. And whenever there is a high-profile visit to India, on this occasion, it was the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and his family touring India. There is an attack by the Pakistani terrorists backed by the Pakistani state. So this has happened once again. The United States Vice President J.D. Vance was on a high-profile tour of India, and those pictures of his family visiting the tourist spots, having a relaxed time in India, having met the Prime Minister, and bringing India-US ties closer with this visit, very, very quickly after Trump's administration had taken over. I think that is something significant, and the terrorists have struck at this point, so we cannot miss the timing. And yes, as you said, the Prime Minister was out of the country. He was on a 2-day tour of Saudi Arabia, and the importance, the Saudi Arabia, the heart of the Muslim world, welcoming the president, giving him a grand welcome with F-16 fighter jets, escorting the Prime Minister's aircraft the moment it entered the Saudi airspace. This is something, the symbolism is not missed out. And that is something which the enemies of India, the biggest enemy of India, that is Pakistan, cannot tolerate this kind of prestige that India has achieved in the world stage. And that is the reason why these terrorists were lying low. They were rigging, according to reports, they were rigging the place since the 1st of April. And they've chosen the time and day to struck when the Prime Minister was out of the country and when a high-profile visitor was in our country.